come here. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. He wanted us to just talk a little bit about our testimonials, and I just started a few months ago seeing my friend Angie from Alabama post about these miracle drops. And I just watched and go by, next day shows up another one. And I'm like, I don't really need to lose the weight. What I need is the menopause symptoms to be done. My hot flashes, my energy, my lack of sleep, all that. And I thought, all right, I'm going to give them a try. And she started talking to us about them. Travis was like, well, I'm going to try them too. And my sister was going to try them. So she talked me into a larger quantity because they're a way better price. So I said, okay, I'll start posting even before I get the drops. By the time I got the drops, the entire 10-pack was sold. And so other people were going to start the journey with us at the same time. And we just had great luck. And I decided, okay, maybe I'll try selling them. And I thought, what do I want to do with the money? Like, I just maybe a car payment. And that's the reason I started. And as of right now, I can make my car payment that quick.
And it's an Escalade. It's not just a car payment.
It's a nice car. So that is mine. So I'm very thankful for that. And then you can say yours.
Yeah, I'll kick it off here too. Again, Travis Porta, excited to have everybody here in our office. I work for Hub International, which is the 5th largest broker in the world, #1 privately held. So I've been doing healthcare now for about 30 years. And to me, I feel like our healthcare system is broken because I think every time you go to a doctor, it's like, what pill can they give you? And the symptoms and that you do have can be a lot of times fixed with just diet, watching what you eat. These drops help tremendously. So that's been a big message for me because, when I sell healthcare to employer groups, we deal with like the Ozempics, the Wegovy, and the side effects of those drugs. They don't even know all of them yet. I got a friend of mine who's an anesthesiologist, and they're seeing paralyzed stomach right now with folks that are on those prescriptions. So I love homeopathic. I say try it first, and let's fix what's going on with what we eat. And doctors don't do that. So that's been a big push for me. My guy friends out on the golf course, they're thinking I'm taking THC. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking THC. I'm not pushing drugs here, but I tell them my story. And the main reason I did it was I wanted a metabolism booster. I'm 53 years old, going to be 54. And I started getting a little chubby, as you can see by my picture that's on the screen there. So I've lost now 15 pounds since July. So
and 3.5 inches off of his, he needs.
Gotta get my shirts taken in now.
I will go and take them all to the tailor. Happy to do it.
So anyways, we're excited to have everybody here. We're grateful for Angie and Larry. Obviously, we've known each other for 30 years. So
thank you for everything.
Been a great friendship.
Amazing company.
Yep. And we're glad, Todd, that you came all the way up from Destin, Florida to hang out with us and show us the way.
Yeah, you're all in for a treat. Todd's amazing. He's got his degree in nutrition and kinesiology, and he's here to share with all of us. And thank you so much.
And Angie and I are going to go first.
Yeah.
Angie next. Right. All right.
There you go.
Hey guys, I'm Angie Batts from Birmingham, Alabama, and this is my husband Larry. And we both started the drops on May the 12th. I've lost about 28 pounds, and I'll let him share his. But first thing I noticed besides losing weight in inches is I slept so much deeper. His head hits the pillow, he's a goner, not me. So that was the first thing. And then no more heartburn at all. And so I'm just loving the drops. And we went all in to begin with. I'm in Kim Gray's downline, and my friend Shelly Nilsson introduced us to the drops. She's in Birmingham. So our group is growing fast, and I'm thankful for Jenny, and I'm thankful for Todd taking the time out to fly up here and help us do her launch party. And I'm thankful for all of you that came. And
well, I was in about that same time. We were out in public. My son was standing next to me, and I looked at this man on the other side, and I looked back at my son. I said, I don't look like him, do I? Like, well, it was there. And so I said, I'm in. I can see the picture there. But for me, it's been amazing. I've lost 35 pounds and went from 195 to 160. I don't even remember when I was 160. And it's just, I have energy, I mean, think about carrying 30 extra pounds around and what that feels like to not be carrying that around. It's just, there's a lightness to it. And so it's just been a great, fun time. I never hungry. I tell people I'm never hungry, because if I do start feeling hungry, I eat. I just eat right food, and it's great. So having a great time and enjoying this, and so thankful to be up here. We were in Michigan for 8 years, so this is a reunion for us. So it's great to be up here with y'all.
Awesome. Okay, so just a couple of questions before we get started, so I can understand the room good. Who is here for the very first time that you really don't know much at all? Do we have those? Okay. All right, totally relax. We have nothing for sale, just for show. You can be interested in nothing and nobody will care. But there are two things we're going to talk about. One is you're going to see some of the highest quality nutritional products that exist on planet Earth that can really address a lot of the needs in our body, especially the things that people are struggling with in 2024 because of our tainted food supply that we all are consuming. But the second thing we're going to talk about is a way to create extra income. And you can be interested in either or both. And I was a football coach at the high school level. And during a 15-year career, we had a lot of success. It's what I thought I would always do. I never dreamed I would be speaking about nutrition in Michigan. I thought I'd be waking up from a Friday night football game this morning and going and watching somebody else play. But during that 15-year career, my wife and I had 4 children. And on our third child, she left her job at a doctor's office and became a stay-at-home mom. And although a football coaching job is really fun, it is not designed to keep a wife home with 4 kids financially. And we found ourselves in that paycheck to paycheck rut. And if you've never experienced it, it's really hard work. And then you have these unexpected things that seem to show up in your life when you're living paycheck to paycheck that you don't have budgeted. And now all of a sudden you're living slightly below paycheck to paycheck, kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I just found myself praying for better, and my wife too. And I was praying for an SEC sideline, not this, I'll be honest with you. But God has a particular way of letting things come into your life that maybe you were supposed to be a part of. And that's what happened for us. We got involved, not with this company, it was a different company at the time. But we began to make extra income. And within a couple of years, it was quadrupling our coaches' income, and we resigned and went full time. So, everybody knows high school coaches, we live paycheck to paycheck. But in 2024, everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. Like I always tell everybody, if you're struggling, just know you're in the in crowd. It's like 90% plus. I mean, the professionals, the doctors, the nurses, the real estate agents, like they're all, because all the prices have come up so high, and income just has not kept up with what it costs to go to the grocery store and pay bills and drive. I mean, if you drive 2 nice cars, live in a nice subdivision, have a couple of kids, it's a couple $100,000 a year in today's world to call yourself a decent middle-class person. And I always say the $200,000 year income is the $100,000 year income is now the $200,000, the new $100,000 income from 15 years ago. So you're going to see a way here without taking away from your career, something you can do on the side and build extra income in. And most importantly about it, and insurance people know the importance of this, it's reoccurring income. So the work is the same. There's no shortcut on the work. It's not going to fall like manna from the sky. But if you do build it, it will continue following you, hopefully for the rest of your life, and show up retirements, kids' education funds, get you out of debt, cash flow. And those that choose to work hard at it, like Angie and Larry have now chosen to do, and Becky and some others. Kimberly, I know Kimberly maybe, where's Kimberly? Are you full-time, Kimberly?
Yes.
Okay, Kimberly, by the way, this room is not Brighton, Michigan. Who here is from Brighton? Raise your hand. There's like 2 people in the room from Brighton. So I know Kimberly, you came from Grand Rapids. Big Rapids. And you guys came over from where?
Just fine.
Okay, not far from here. Okay. And then Cleveland, Ohio. Tish just got involved a couple of months ago, but down in Cleveland. And but anyway, all of that said, here's how everything works. So the actual name of the company is called Partner.co. And if you like to investigate, you're going to find us that way everywhere. You can YouTube us, you can social media. We're exactly like that online, partner.co.com, and do all your investigating you want to. And what we do as a company is we have created over 100 products, and we move them into 58 countries. So the business model side of this, I always like to get the money out of the way. It's going to cost you $30 one time to own, if you so choose, a multi-million-dollar business one day. Because when you pay that $30, you're going to get an app on your phone and a website, and you'll have the flag of every country, and you're going to have the ability to build this business into all 58 countries with access to 4 billion people. The products we have are what separate this company from really anything that's ever existed before. We're up to right at 100 globally. We have healthy energy drinks. We have things for hormones. We have things for night sweats. We have things to lose weight. Maybe some of our very best products reduce inflammation in the body, and can get a person to lose weight and have less pain in their body. They're very happy very quickly. And we've got a couple of products that do that. You're going to, by the way, this room is full of testimonials. So as we get into the slideshow, this room is going to be telling the story, not me. And you're going to just be blown away with the stories just in this room. Every product we have was created by a doctor. And we now have, by the way, we have about 75 doctors, actually plus now on staff, if you count the doctors globally. But Dr. Strand, our top doctor, his wife, by the way, he's in his 80s, and in their late 30s, Elizabeth, his wife, fell bedridden with fibromyalgia. And they put him on a lot of medication. And he just, when he speaks, he just always says, I did not know anything about nutrition. I wasn't pro or negative. I just didn't know. He said, but what I did know is those medications were probably going to shorten her life. So he went just on a 2-year quest to kind of discover alternatives. And after that 2 years, he wrote his first book called What Your Doctor Doesn't Know About Nutrition That May Be Killing You. That's now sold 35 million copies. I highly suggest you read it. He followed that up by another book called Death by Prescription. You kind of heard Travis making a little bit of mention to the prescription world there. But that book, if you look at all his books cumulative now, he's sold 100 million books. We have about 215 published third-party papers on our products. And because of all the third-party research, we now have about a half dozen products that have been inducted into the physician desk preference. That means they are going to be at your doctor's office when you go there. But going back to Dr. Strand, one of his specialties, I'll call him really the leading authority. Everybody's kind of catching on now. But only over the last decade have the average doctors begun to really understand what's going on in people's bodies from the sugar and insulin sensitivity standpoint. So he's a leading authority on what's called metabolic syndrome or insulin sensitivity. And if you don't know what that is elevated blood sugar before they're going to classify you as prediabetes, which is just a number on the scale. And then type 2 diabetes obviously comes after that. So according to Dr. Strand, if you have elevated blood sugar, you're 25 times more likely, by the way, put it this way, 25 more times likely to die younger than you were supposed to. And the reason for that is elevated blood sugar increases cardiovascular risk 25-fold. It increased the risk of you being told you have cancer one day 25-fold. The conservative doctors in the know say a minimum of 10-fold. And it's really funny. I said this, and by the way, a lot of the doctors now are saying that Alzheimer's dementia is type 3 diabetes, elevated blood sugar over a period of time. So I got 2 quick stories for you to kind of complement that. So about a month ago, just like I'm here today, I was in a living room in Jackson, Mississippi. The person hosting that meeting is a cardiac surgeon, and he's actually one of the #1 surgeons in the world for what's called aortic stenosis. He has a special procedure that he does. And anytime I'm speaking for a doctor, I like to know their beliefs before I speak, because I don't want to say something that contradicts their beliefs. It's their people, not mine. So I didn't get a chance to. We both got there late, and I was thrown up in front of the room before we could ever talk. And so after the meeting, I said it. And I said, his name is Ross, Dr. Ross. I said, Dr. Ross, what do you feel like on the things I said tonight on the metabolic syndrome? He says, well, you're a little off. So Dr. Strand always says 70% of the people have metabolic syndrome. He says he's a little off. I think it's 80%. And then the second thing he said startled me, because I'd never heard this before. He said 100% of the adult patients that end up on my operating table have elevated blood sugar. He said there's a few exceptions with children with genetic issues. So last weekend, I was in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We have a neurosurgeon out there that has left the hospital to go full time with us. And he was, this business really equals a playing field. I'm a football coach, and I've got a neurosurgeon in my front seat riding meeting to meeting, picking my brain. That's funny. Really funny. So I flipped it on him a little bit. And I said, his name is Dan. I said, Dan, what do you think about the type 3 diabetes related to the Alzheimer's dementia? He said, 100%. He said, there's no chance that's not maybe the #1 contributing cause out there in that world right now. There's other factors they don't know exactly, but elevated blood sugar is a big one. So I say all of that to let you know the #1 thing you can do for your body is get the blood sugar stabilized and get the sugar out of your diet and the simple carbs. And the first product we have is going to assist you to do that. And then the side effect of it will be weight loss. So they're called body balancing drops. It is what's called, as Travis mentioned, a homeopathic formula. Bottle 1 is the homeopathic bottle. It's got 11 homeopathic ingredients. Several of the ingredients are going to be helping to stabilize blood sugar. They're going to help stabilize the pancreas and the insulin secretion. Several of the ingredients are going to help detoxify you, get a lot of the heavy metals and toxins out of your cells. Another one of the ingredients called thyroidium 9X is going to help stabilize your thyroid. If you don't know what the thyroid is, it is a regulator of metabolism, energy, mood, sleep. And about 50+% of women are on some type of low thyroid medication. And any autoimmune disease or Hashimoto's women in this room. Okay. So obviously, you know, for those that don't know, Hashimoto's is an extreme side of low thyroid. They classify it as an autoimmune disease, and it makes it really difficult to lose weight. We have got a ton of success with the Hashimoto world. Lots of them have lost 100+ pounds with us. So it's a little slower move. You've got some things to overcome, but we definitely move the needle better than anything I've ever seen in my 35-year nutrition career. There's other things going on, but the last thing I'll say about it is there's a couple of those ingredients. There's not a true appetite suppressant, but they just absolutely quell your desire for simple sugars and carbs. So I nicknamed them years ago liquid discipline. And the way I describe it is, I've got my master's in nutrition. You do not need a master's in nutrition to know what to eat or not to eat. Like, it's pretty obvious, we know. But when the potato chip bag is open and sitting on the counter, you walk by. Or I've got 4 children and they order a pizza and it's sitting on the counter. No matter what you know, it's got nothing to do with it. It's all discipline. So the best way for me to describe the drops is if I cycle off of them about a month after taking them, when my kids order pizza, I have to make a decision. Like, it's calling my name. It smells good. It looks good. I want it. But I say, no, it's not good for me. I have to fight through that. When I'm on the drops, I could absolutely care less. And everybody on the drops in the room knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll know if you're new on them when they'll kick in and cut that off for you. Bottle 2 is the bottle that's going to move the needle the fastest if you're in the category I'm about to talk about. So the main ingredient in bottle 2 is the methylated form of B12. And I'm sharing a little bit more information today because most of you are in the business to get you some education so you can answer questions. But there's only one good form of B12. That's the methylated. It's called methoxycolabine. But if you go to the store, the Walgreens, the Walmarts, the Sam's, most nutrition stores, and you buy the cheap B12, it's going to be cyanocolabine, which stands for cyanide. That's what it is. And it absolutely is not absorbed in the human body. And it's terrible for you. And that's what 90% of people go to the store and buy. If you go to the doctor and you get a B12 injection, which I highly suggest if you have low energy, then it's going to be the methoxycolabine. But even that form really can't get through that digestive system. That's the reason ours is sublingually absorbed. And that's the reason it has a little bit of grain alcohol in there to speed up that absorption in your mouth. So that's the needle we move the fastest. And B12, again, a regulator of metabolism and energy and mood and sleep. And if you go to the government website, and it's called pubmed.gov, and you research B12, there's 2,000 published papers now showing how B12, low B12 levels coincide with people that have severe anxiety and depression. So if I can elevate my B12 and you're one of those people, that's the woman that's going to say in 3 days it's crack cocaine. It's the best thing I've ever put in my body, because that we can move that needle so quickly on them. But it's also got ashwagandha in it. It's called the mood food in the Eastern world, assisting with all those things. It's got rose hips, also assisting with all those things. They're all what's called adaptions. And then the last ingredient I'm going to mention in it is called rhodiola. So we have 2 hormones that make us want to store fat. Insulin is one. It's what releases when we eat sugar or simple carbs. The other hormone that makes us want to gain weight is called cortisol. And we release that in high stress environment moments, which in 2024 is about the majority of the day. Yeah. So that rhodiola limits the cortisol secretion. And that again allows people that really think they've been eating really good and the needle's not moving. When you stabilize cortisol, stabilize insulin, and get some hormonal things going on and balanced out in the women's body, the needle just begins to move, really without trying as hard. Okay, so here are some pictures. Oh, by the way, I would say 40% of our customer base do not take the drops for weight loss. This is the part I can't explain. I don't have a background in it. I've studied the ingredients and I still cannot explain it thoroughly. But somehow, some way, we are helping the women in that menopause phase of life better than anything on planet Earth. And here's the crazy thing. I've got an OBGYN in the business in Birmingham, Alabama. She's actually tracking the data for us right now in her office. We should have that true data in a little bit. But I've got to always say anecdotally, but it's really not anecdotally because I've got so many women now that have gone back to their doctors that are on the pellets and different things. And the needle's moving so much more when they get on the drops. One in particular, you're going to see her picture in a second, but she had completely bottomed out like a 25 on estrogen, and they'd been on the pellets and stuff for a couple of years. It was barely moving it, and on the drops, it got back to normal in 4 months, and so much so the doctor took her off the pellets. But if weight loss is a goal, then you've got to couple it with what we call our approved food list. We didn't make this up. It's just the low glycemic food index. If you don't know what that is, Google it when you go home. Low glycemic food index. Every diet that has ever worked since the beginning of mankind is the low glycemic food index. People just brand it differently. But if you go look, and I'm going to do this, those that come to the convention will see my speech. I'm going to cover this. But if you study the paleo diet, the keto diet, the Atkins diet, the whole foods, they all brand it different on the beginning. But if you'll just go look at what you can't eat, it's all the same nose. You can't have sugar. You can't have liquid sugar. You can't have simple carbs, potato chips. It's on none of those diets. And in today's world, if you're an adult, you cannot outrun the fork. This is where we have to manage it. But the reason a lot of diets fail is because most of them put a lot of calorie restriction on you, and people just can't sustain it over time. Here, we eat when we're hungry. We just eat from the list. And if you like to cook, the good news is we've got so many creative women in our business now. I think there's a dozen cookbooks out there now. So if you like brownies and cookies and spaghetti, you can have it. You just got to use the recipe book to do it. The brownies are made with like, I've seen black bean brownies with almond flour. It's really weird. You don't even know you're eating it until somebody tells you. Okay, so we're going to go around the room. We're going to begin with Becky and Mike.
So yeah, that was me on the left. It was 260 pounds. I weigh probably about 160 right now. I had lost 80 pounds or so yo-yo dieting off a lot of weight. And then I found the drops in March. I had a hysterectomy. I gained a lot of weight in my belly area. I looked like 8 months pregnant. And my hair was falling out. So I had a lot of different side effects. Just wasn't weight loss. I actually didn't start the drops for weight loss. I had already lost a lot of weight. And my goal was to get to 200 pounds. So at, almost 180 pounds, I was at my goal. I have 20 pounds less. So, but I've now dropped 22 pounds just from the drops, but my night sweats are gone. My mood swings are gone. I started the Renew, so my libido is way up. He can definitely fix that. So get on the Renew. If you don't know about it, you should. Yes, that's my husband, by the way.
Good call. It does work.
So that is my story. And then he at first, he was like, what is this? This is some weird thing you're putting under your tongue. I don't know what you're doing over there. I'm not going to be interested. Well, he saw me changing and my mood definitely changed instantly. So he was heavy. He needed to lose a few pounds himself. So he started the drops late March, and there you go. So you can tell your story.
Yeah, I'm Mike. Yeah, so when I started, I was 265, 267 pounds roughly. I'm not really a scale guy like most guys aren't, but in that range. Within 3-4 days, literally, I was noticing my stomach felt tight, like I've been doing ab workouts every day or something, and I'm not a gym guy either. But I lost weight rapidly. Within 2.5 months, I'm now down 33 pounds.
Wow.
So I feel great. 232 pounds. I get on the scale once a week-ish, once in a while. I went off the drops for a little while, and then now we're going to Florida here in a week. So decided to kind of jump back on here the last couple of weeks. But it really does. So the energy level, I had digestion problems, eating food where I would have food literally get stuck in my esophagus and I just curl over in pain. It would hurt so bad. I haven't had an ounce of problems since I've been on these drops. Almost pre-diabetic. Again, a guy, I don't really go to the doctor, but I was shaking all the time and have to eat every hour or two. No more shakes, no more nothing. So better sleep, increased energy, feel great. Down 2 pant sizes and shirts. So I feel all that. I've already had to go shopping twice.
Yep.
Just rented. I got a tuxedo the other day, got fitted, and I went from a size 54 to a 46. So that's pretty darn good. But yeah,
And-
so we're loving the products, and
Probably added decades to your life.
Yep. Literally.
You look great.
thank you.
Thank
You
you.
and Travis both do. By the way, life is not fair. We're, for whatever reason, the skinny drops get woman heavy in our meetings, but men are the ones that get the best results. I mean, our clinical study proved it. In the clinical study, men lost 3/4 pound a day, women lost a 1/2 pound a day.
Right.
But out here in real life, you're getting ready to see a guy that lost 100 pounds in 90 days that joined us. Okay, I think Amy's with us. Where you at, Amy?
Hi.
Yeah.
My biggest reason why I chose to start the drops is I've always had an enlarged thyroid. And I had a thyroid scan, some overproduce, some part of it underproduces, never equal. Tried thyroid medication for months, couldn't, like, I was sleeping all the time. I said, that's it, I can't do it anymore. So I stopped taking any thyroid medicine whatsoever. So about a year and a half ago, my thyroid level was actually up to 9.0, which is 3 times the normal. So I decided, okay, I gotta do something else. So when I saw Becky's post about skinny drops, and then I started getting a little bit more information. So in April, I started with the drops with the intent of my thyroid level, hopefully balancing. Not quite there yet. Normal is 0.4 to 4.5, and I'm at 5.9 right now.
So you've already seen the blood work change since you've been on the
Yeah,
drops.
I go every 2 months. I talk to my
She's also a
provider.
nurse,
Yeah.
so Amy is very educated in medical field, so.
So my T3 still covers right at the low end, but that one hasn't changed, but at least my TSH has been coming
Yeah.
down.
Okay,
So
I never talk about this in a presentation, but when I add this, because we are woman heavy and for you specifically. So there is a guy that I follow. I encourage you to follow him if you're a social media person. His name is Gary Brecka, Brecka. But he was the top person for all insurance companies. He was like a genius scientist for life insurance companies that could predict lifespan on people's blood work. And he's retired from that, and he now just educates people on what he would see and could predict their life. If you follow Joe Rogan and all those people, they've all done their blood work with him to get their lifespans and all changed their diets because of him. But here's what he says about the thyroid. So the T3 and T4 is what they're going to be tracking, but T3 specifically is the one that most doctors say is low. And I did not know this, but he preaches about it all the time. T3, only 20% of it is made in the thyroid. The other 80% takes the T4 in the gut and methylates it over to T3. So they're treating the thyroid for low T3, and the thyroid's really got nothing to do with it. Until you get your gut healthy, you're never going to have good T3 numbers. So by changing the diet and different things, that's one of the reasons we're seeing these T3 numbers in blood work move so rapidly for people. Very, very important to know if you've got low thyroid. Yeah, just listen to him. You'll find it out your research. So Kim Gray, you can see she lost 100 pounds. She has muscular dystrophy. When the first time I shook her hand, she was in a lift chair and had not left the house in a couple of years. She had been on disability since she was a teenager. She was like most people that suffer from physical conditions. They don't think anything's going to work for them because they have tried everything in their lifetime. But it did. She lost 14 pounds in 2 weeks, enough to get her attention. And she went on to lose 100 pounds in a year. There's nobody that has more things to overcome. Her large intestines are paralyzed at 99%. Like there's everything that could possibly cause a person not to lose weight she has going on in her body. She did it anyway. And she's also gone from living on disability to plus $7,000 a week in our company. So she's a $250,000 a year person now because she's not on disability anymore. These are just some of the women here that take it strictly for the hormonal balance. And I think you mentioned a little bit, but you said yesterday that weight loss wasn't your goal. It was more, and you've seen results on the.
Yes, I've seen, yeah, and I've lost weight. So my body obviously needed to release a little more information that I didn't think I had.
So, funny story. I got a bunch of them. I'll share one. But there's a girl down where I live out in Florida named Jennifer Braden, and she was selling skinny drops on social media. And about 2 hours from her house is Tallahassee, Florida. And this lady had bought for a couple of months. And then December came around and she didn't buy. Well, January came around and the husband calls Jennifer and he says, "Are you that drop lady?" And Jennifer says, "Yes." He said, "Well, my wife was buying them from you and she's been out about a month and things have gotten bad at our house again. Can I come get some?" He came and bought 2 boxes from her. True story. And I've had a bunch of those. Sarah's a school teacher that just resigned her job to go full time with us, but same thing. She was skinny when she started, but she is in that phase of life and feels so much better. Randy's the gentleman that lost 100 pounds in 90 days. I had met Randy about 15 years ago briefly, and we had not talked in 15 years, but just responded to my post. I opened up my messenger one day and Randy asked me to call him, and I called and he said, "Todd," he said, "I have hit 400 pounds. He said, I can't tie my shoe and without help. And he said, I've got to do something if these drops really work." And of course they do, Randy. I wouldn't post them if they didn't. So I said, "But you're going to need a whole lot more than 1 box." And so he came in $29.95 and got a 4-pack on day one. and started on, he went all in and plus he was big when he started, but he was averaging 2 to 3 pounds a day for that first 3-4 months. But he's actually up to 170 now. And October 31st was the first day he took them. Jill, same thing. Jill is mid-50s. You can see 152 to 127. Ernest, 42 pounds in 2 months. I think Jeanette is with us. Okay.
I'm Jeanette. Becky got me into the business and, well, what happened with me, I started them in May and I believe I lost about 24 pounds in 3 months and just feel great. And the one thing I noticed within 3 days, I was looking in my cupboard, and I saw a candy bar that was sitting there and I saw fruit on the counter and I said, I can't believe I'm gonna do this instead. So the craving, it used to be like just calling me, the fridge was calling me everything. And I just noticed right away that it didn't really bother me anymore. I might have a little taste of something now and then, but it's not that nagging calling. So the other good thing is it's been a busy August and now into September. I did lose another 3 pounds in August, but I've kind of plateaued, but I have also been so busy with parties and things going on that I'm thrilled that I've maintained and feel amazing. And now usually at this point, when you're doing a diet, you feel like would feel that it was all done. I'm going to go back to my old ways. No, I'm very excited to continue this journey. I have some weight to lose yet. And so I'm just going to continue on.
Outside of people just feeling better, I would say it's the number one thing that separates us from everything else.
Yeah.
Most people at a very high percentage, 95 percentile, that lose the weight with us keep it off.
And my husband's lost 25 pounds also. And he's not here and he's feeling great.
And Jen, where are you at? There you are.
Hi. Hi. So I had a baby at 39, and so I had some weight to lose. I actually started the drops for night sweats though. So hit age 40, started getting night sweats. And Becky was like, I've tried these amazing drops and they've helped me with my night sweats. And I was like, all right, I'm like, I'm in, I'm trying them. So I would say probably within 3 days, night sweats were gone. That was the first thing I noticed. After that, I think in this photo, that is 8 weeks at 16 pounds. So I have since lost another couple pounds. I'm at 23 pounds down now, 50 pounds total since I started my full weight loss journey. But I've tried all sorts of different things and never have I found anything that has helped me with not only weight loss, but my mood, my energy. I have a toddler, so 41 with a toddler, like I need the extra energy. So, yeah, that's my journey and I'm not stopping the drops anytime soon.
And then Lisa, please.
Well, now I know why Becky wanted the before and after. Sorry. So I'm gonna say it. Becky gets mad whenever I say I only lost 8 pounds. Only. And I say that because when I've asked people, including my husband, how much weight do I look like I lost? And I had one person say 30, one said 25. My husband said 15, but I think he felt like maybe he couldn't win no matter what he said. But I started the drops for night sweats. And then I looked at this picture. This was from spring break in March. And I'm like, wow, do I really look like that? And most of that weight, or I'm going to call it just inflammation, crept on over the winter when I started eating homemade sourdough bread. So now instead of eating the bread every day, I may try this winter just having it once a week. But the drops have just been amazing. They've given me energy that I thought my kids had just burned me out. I had 3 kids in 2 years at the age of 37. Twins at 39, so I know exactly how Jen felt, and I'm 55 now, so they're all teenagers, and the anxiety I have is them driving the car. But again, the drops have just completely given me my life back.
Awesome. And I don't have a picture of Tish, but Tish drove up her and her husband
I
David.
was actually on 23 when he said, "Hey, I need a picture of you." I said, "Well, I don't think it's gonna happen today." But I came up from the Cleveland area. Todd was gracious enough to come there first, come back up here, so that my husband and I could have our first event also. I came in on the drops on July 23rd. I've lost 18 pounds. I worked for Weight Watchers for 5 years after I had all my children. I'm actually from Ann Arbor.
They have 11, by the way.
Well, together, we have 11 together. But I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I met my husband on eHarmony, and I moved. I used to work right down here on Grand River. I was in the insurance restoration industry for 25 years in this area. So I've traveled the whole area. I knew all the real estate agents, all the contractors, everything. I've been down there for 16 years. And we also have 27 grandchildren. So 9 weddings in the first 8 years we were married. And we're still married 16. So absolutely crazy. But we heard about the drops. We're kind of on the opposite end of this, except for the weight loss. I will say I have been floundering in that I'm almost 5'10". I was 5'11" and a half. You know, as you get older, you kind of get more shrunk. And I floundered between about 196 up to 190, 196, 190. And I couldn't break that 190. I just couldn't break that 190. It was absolutely driving me crazy. And I really hadn't heard about like the glycemic index stuff and, you know, how good it is to eat on that kind of program. And if I would have seen it at the time, I probably would have just said, I can't do that. There's no way I can eat that kind of food and eat that, you know, cut out pizza and cut out all these different things. But I got a phone call from my friend Pam Dodd down in Alabama. And we were in Arbonne together when I lived here. And she was my regional manager down there. And she said, Tish, I have got the MLM that you will never believe, because it's not an MLM. It really isn't. You're going to make great money on this. You and David, I know you're just going into retirement. You're looking for that side hustle, as they call it. And I want to tell you about it. And I look at David and I go, okay, we both tried these kinds of things. We weren't very successful. We lost money. I'm not sure if I want to get into it. And he was like, let's listen to her. Let's just listen to her. So, you know, Pam Dodd can talk your ear off and talk you into anything, but she's a wonderful person. She didn't really have to talk us into anything. When we heard about the program, we started investigating it, and we did follow up with Kim and Pam Anderson and Todd and all these people who came in and really talked about it to us strongly. And we made a decision that we were going all in immediately, so that we could go directly to putting people underneath us with 2 legs and immediately begin seeing the money coming in as other people came into our business. We didn't just try the drops. We made a decision to do the business. We left immediately after that with 1 package of drops in my hands and a box of MOA down to our family reunion in Missouri. And I had to be on the drops and be at a family reunion. That was a killer to a dietary situation. I tried to stay as closely as possible to it while I was there. But what I found out, one, I wasn't hungry. And that was amazing to me. I wasn't hungry. And again, the sweets, the salty, all of those things. But I had so many dang hamburgers over that week. I about died. And it felt like this big gut, you know, this big thing in my gut the whole time. Very, very, did not set well with me at all. I got home, and on July 23rd, we had signed up 2 people from the family reunion. And on July 23rd, I jumped right in full boat with the diet. And so I've lost 18 pounds since then. And I broke, I was floundering back and forth and kind of stuck just under one, just let me see, where am I at right now? I'm at 178 now. So I was just under 180, and I could not break that. Could not break it. And then I found that sheet, and I don't even know exactly where it is about plateauing. Wherever that is on our, and there's a whole bunch of things in there that talks about plateauing and talks about do this and do this. And and I'll tell you what, I took on two little things off of that sheet. And within 2 days, I had jumped 3 pounds up over that. So I'll tell you, the bigger part of this for me though, is it has targeted my visceral fat. And it has really, I'm not calling this out. But I have had anxiety in my life pretty bad. And excuse me, it's really helped balance that in me so much. So I'm excited to be here and support anybody that can be on the drops who decides to do the business because it's well worth it.
And Kimberly?
I'm Kimberly, and this is really fun for me because usually the rooms that I am in, I'm the only person from the north. I'm always in the south, so this is really fun for me. I'm from Big Rapids, Michigan, which is about 3 hours north of here. I did not start the drops first. I started the business first. One of my dearest friends, Michelle McKay, called me and she said, "You need to do this. I know that you are really frustrating in your teaching career and I have an option for you." And so I joined the business before I started the drops. And I did lose I've lost 35 pounds. I have 20 more to go, but even better than that, in my family's health history is diabetes. My brother has diabetes. My sister has diabetes. My grandmother had diabetes. My grandfather had diabetes. My mother died at the age of 62 of diabetic complications. I'm 57. So I always tell my husband, I have 5 good years. He did not like that. So I started the drops, working with Michelle. I've lost 35 pounds. All of my labs are perfect now, all of them. And that was the most important part for me. But it's fun. I'm growing a team. I get to go to the South. I have people in Australia. I have people in Canada. It is fun. And I feel good. Yeah.
So you just flipped your flag on your website and signed up in Australia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
By the way, for those watching on Zoom, this thing has an AI camera. So anytime anybody moves, the camera moves. The reason we can't get it focused on anybody. So you can see Stephanie. She's down in Kim Gray's group down in Alabama. Buffy's a mom of 5. You can see her weight loss, but she's made $1 million with us. Patty, her and her husband are in their 70s. And Patty, I've never met anybody her age with more desire for greatness. Like the first 2 times I met with her, she literally just cried, wanting this so bad. Like, Todd, you've got, because she couldn't do Facebook. She couldn't figure out Zoom. She didn't have a clue how boards work. Like anything technical was throwing her for a loop. And, but she figured it all out now. She's pretty consistent now, $2,000 a week person with us in about a year time frame. Another nurse that tracks her blood sugar. And that's what her blood sugar did there. And I think that was about 60 days on the drops. School teacher, Stephanie's one of the girls that helped us figure out the skinny drop system. She has sold about 1,500 boxes. Oh, by the way, she's a school teacher down in Florida, and in 4 months, she was doubling her salary and quit her job. She'll be speaking at the convention. Ursula, mom of 6, stayed home, a homeschool mom, and same thing, got great income coming to their life, probably sold 500 boxes of drops. Mom and daughter, this couple's also right around 68, 69 years old. Right around 70. So you can see every walk of life, male and female, all ethnic groups, all ages. It's just amazing. So this couple was on 38 prescription medications the first time I shook their hands. And they're both down over 100 pounds, and I think 3 combined prescriptions now. So we could go forever, but we're going to move now and talk about 2 more products very quickly, other than Dr. Crystal. Dr. Crystal, I know is a sponsor, or you're upline to a lot of people in the room, but she's everybody's best friend because generally speaking, her 4-minute video is what we're going to send everybody for the first time in the board's app. So she was a top end chiropractor, not a normal one. She had a lot of professional athletes, but developed an autoimmune disease called alopecia. It's the one that makes you lose your hair. And the picture on the left was fighting it the medical way for 8 years, the prednisone and all the things they do to you. and she found our products, and the picture on the right was 2 years on our products. She now weighs less than the amount of weight she lost. Second product, and we'll just briefly hit these two products and then close it out, about 10 minutes left. Renew long-term is way better than the drops. And there's a lot of science behind it. So if you're not familiar with human growth hormone, it's HGH, is human growth hormone abbreviated. It is the most important hormone in a male and a female's body. It is made in our pituitary gland in our deep sleep. In the medical world, they call it the longevity hormone. And the reason they call it that is it must be present for all cellular regeneration. If you're not familiar with your human body, your skin rebuilds itself every 90 days. And almost everything in the body, there are a couple of exceptions, but almost everything in the body rebuilds itself every 2 years. So if you can maintain higher HGH levels, everything about you is better. You're going to have, if you're a female, you're going to have better hair, better skin, better nails, better body composition, stronger bones. Everything is better. Going back to this slide here, this is the normal decline of HGH in our bodies, just as we age. Sad to say is that about 70% of Americans are speeding that up greatly. There's ways to speed it up and there's ways to slow down the decline. And it's just doing opposite. So it's really easy. If you eat a lot of sugar and drink a lot of alcohol, that's going to be a much steeper decline for you. If you have bad sleeping patterns, because we make the HGH in our deep REM sleep, you're going to have lower HGH. It's going to decline faster. If you have a sedentary lifestyle, meaning you don't have much movement in your life, it's going to be declining much quicker. So how do you slow down the decline naturally? Do the opposite. Don't eat sugar. Don't drink a lot of alcohol. The science says high intensity exercise. So it does take a little bit more than just walking to up your HGH, although walking is the best exercise on planet Earth. But going back to the woman, there is one of the top endocrinologists in the world, Dr. Stephen Colbert. He's out of Orlando. Just go to Amazon, type in Dr. Stephen Colbert hormones. You'll find the book I'm going to reference. But he has a whole chapter in his book that says this. It says if a woman can raise and optimize her HGH, in return, it will optimize all of her other hormones, progesterone, estrogen, and believe it or not, for women, testosterone is even important too. Keep that at the right level in your body. Men, same thing. By the way, because I'm not good at talking about it, but I hear it everywhere I go. Will you say again what Renew did?
Definitely 1000% increased my libido. And my husband's right here, so if you don't believe it, you can ask him.
Yeah, I get that report everywhere I go, so I'm just not good to say it. All right, and then men, same thing across the board. So my background is in athletic performance, and everybody in the athletic world knows that if you can keep higher HGH levels, the results of your workouts and whatever you're doing to improve your body is going to be far, far greater. Really, really important. So you take the Renew before you go to bed at night and through 4 different pathways. One is promoting a deeper sleep. And by the way, if you wear smartwatches, you can track it. Don't just trust me. I mean, literally, we watch people's REM sleep. If they're good sleepers, it's going to increase 10, because a good REM sleep night is 2 to 4 hours. So you're going to, some people are already getting good REM. They're going to see it increase 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, which is actually huge percentage wise. But bad sleepers, I have seen REM sleep on some people increase an hour to 2 hours. So the first result isn't your HGH rising. You just wake up rested. You have more mental clarity. You feel better because sleep is the most important thing for you. That and water are the 2 free things you can do to really make your body more healthy. But we have 2 patents on some other pathways to slow down the decline of HGH in the body. So it is a very, very powerful product. It is mine and my wife's favorite product. We are both I'm about to be 54 this month, and Ashley's 1 year behind me. She had lost a lot of weight on the, I want to say a lot. She didn't start that heavy, 145-ish, and she dropped to like 135, which she thought was her perfect weight. She's only 5'3". But she only did the Renew because I was. But we did it every night. The first month, she said, wasn't feeling anything. I said, just keep doing it. I said, by the way, you cannot raise HGH fast. Like the HGH benefits are not going to show up for 3 to 5 months. It's going to take a minute. We're doing something natural in the body. It's not like the movie stars paying $1,000 to get it injected and you have higher HGH the next morning. This is a slow progress. But during month 2, about once a week, she would say, honey, I've lost more weight. And she just started dropping like a pound a week. And we've been on it now for a long time, 1.5 years. But she went from 135 and her new weight that she's steady at is 118. That's the only thing that changed in her life. The other thing that changed, the drops had helped stabilize everything in that phase of life except for one thing. She kept waking up, and you women will know what we're talking about better than me, but she says that she's a morning person. I'm not. And she would just wake up and she wasn't a morning person anymore. She couldn't get going. She didn't have what she called good mental clarity. It took her a while to get her brain awake. And about 3 or 4 months on it, she was back. She felt just like she had back in her 20s and 30s, and before all the
3 months on the drops, you're saying?
no, that was renewed.
Renewed.
Renewed. Yeah, it was probably about month 4 when she started feeling all the women's stuff improving greatly. And then last product, this one is different. This is a totally different thing. But this product reduces inflammation in the body better than anything I've ever seen in my entire life. There are 36 superfoods in it. We call it MOA, which stands for Mother of All. The 36 superfoods, if you're a nutrition-minded person, will not be new to you. Many of you have eaten them, bought them, but it's all 36 in one little pouch, to include 6 medicinal mushrooms. Oh, the mushroom page is not there. It's also got 6 medicinal mushrooms in it: the maitake, the reishi, the shiitake. But the most important one is the lion's mane. The lion's mane is well documented now to maybe be one of the better anti-inflammatory products out there. All the mushrooms are documented to slow down and potentially, this is medical research, not our research, to actually slow down or prevent cancer cell splitting. So there's lots of reasons to drink MOA. But between the lion's mane, the turmeric, the curcumin, all the things that are in here, it doesn't matter if it's fibromyalgia, it doesn't matter if it's gout. It could be a sprained ankle, as this gentleman had. He took 3 before he went to bed. That was the next morning. It could be an old sports injury. Anything that's inflamed is going to quickly decrease. This is eczema and psoriasis. It's going to dry it up almost 100% of the time. She referenced Pam Dodd. Let me show you this last picture because I've got so many of these, but she's related to one. So this lady, her son is a football coach. She's back in the background there. I knew him. He dropped 100 pounds with us on the drops in 6 months. And he wasn't really working the business much, but he kept hearing us talk about MOA. And one day he just says, "Hey, Todd, my mom has really severe fibromyalgia. She hasn't left the house in 2 years. She's on a walker. She lives in a small house in our yard, and she hasn't been up to our house now in 2 years. And she's never seen her grandkids who play on his high school football team play a game of football." He said, "Do you think would help?" And I always tell, I never want to give somebody false hope. So I'm never going to say 100%, but I said, for sure, she's going to have to do more than 1 to get it under control. So generally I say, if you have acute inflammation, 2 to 4 a day until inflammation comes down. So he zoomed me in with her. And at the end, I told her exactly what I just told y'all. She said, "I'll buy a 10-pack. I'll do anything to feel better." So I screenshot it and I told AJ, I said, "AJ, because generally when you have really bad fibromyalgia, things are really swollen on you." I said, "Find some swelling on her body and take a picture." So that was my screenshot on Zoom that day. And that was the picture of her thighs that afternoon. And the swelling in the thighs came out in 20 days. And the 2 pictures are 4 months apart. And when I met her in person in Savannah, Georgia, she did air squats in front of me that day. She did not miss a football game last season. She got to see her grandkids playing every game, and she's just doing so wonderful. She's also a 2-time Brit. Yes.
Can I give a personal testimony on MOA? So you can't really tell by just looking at me, but I have a number of disabilities. I have a 40-degree scoliosis in my back, which led to major surgery, and I have a medical implant for kidneys down both legs. I developed neuropathy also because of double surgeries on my left foot. Neuropathy all the way up the left leg and coming into my right leg. I started MOA right off the bat. When I came in, that was my first product. I'm sorry, because it's very emotional for me. My husband I'd wake up in the middle of the night with such shooting heart pains in my left foot and leg that I would scream, and he would get ice packs and pack my legs, pack my feet to keep the shooting pains down. I started the MOA immediately. I started off with 4 immediately. I am now at a point, I am 2.5 months in, and I'm at a point where I have no shooting pains in my legs anymore. I still have to wear some heavy duty socks when I go to sleep because they get icy or they get hot. It's one or the other. It's just a weird thing about neuropathy. But no more shooting pains. And I laid in bed the night that it was at my worst. And I asked God to please please send me something. Please show me something that can be done to take these pains away, because I can't live like this the rest of my life without sleep. And I can't live with these pains for the rest of my life because I have too many other ones going on too. And it was about a month later that Pam called me and she says, you just have to take this moa. You have to have it and you have to start it now. So I did, and I've gotten great results. So anyone, again, I'm going into now for a shoulder replacement. So I've got lots of craziness. But anyone that has inflammation, anyone that is going into any kinds of surgeries, anyone who's just come out of any kinds of surgeries, anyone with neuropathy, you have to really, really emphasize the MOA. And you have to start at 4. And you can, I'm down to 3 now, but I'm gonna jump it back up to 4 because of the new surgery coming up. So
So what do you mean by 4?
like the pouches, they come in pouches, these little pouches here, like this.
So you put it in water?
No, you just
Drink it.
rip it off the top and suck it.
They are better.
Little kids, yeah.
They are better cold.
Tastes like a juice.
I know Dr. Christian's big only move. It probably tastes a little bit better.
When
I drink them all, but MOA Pacific inflammation.
When I
And
first tasted it, I went, oh my gosh, this is so peppery. I don't know if I'm gonna like this or whatever. And Pam goes, drink it cold. And then she said, I'll tell you, it is going to be delicious to you and like liquid gold. And that's how I feel about it.
I tried it last night. It's pretty good.
love it. That means you're not addicted to sugar. People that are addicted to sugar aren't gonna like it at the beginning because it's not Kool-Aid. And most people are addicted to sugar. It's more addicting on the brain than cocaine is. All right. So the last 5 minutes here, we'll just flip over and show you how the business side works. So if you're not interested in business, then you're just, if you decide you want a product, you're just a customer. When we pay our $30, it's really simple. And that's all the difference is between a customer and somebody who owns a business. It's paying your $30 first. When you pay the $30, we're in 2024 now. The dumbest thing a human being could possibly do is go buy a building and start a small business that only can sell in a 15-mile radius. Because in today's world, whether it's a boutique, I don't care what it is. If you're online with a good online presence, advertising for free on social media, you've got the world at your fingertips with no overhead. Like, it's only upside potential. There is no downside risk. So if you only want to be a customer, just visualize the person you buy it from. They're just a virtual nutrition store. They're buying these products wholesale and they're selling them to you retail, and the middle spread is the profit, just like everything operates in the entire world. Okay, that being said, you pay $30, you've got your business for life. You don't even have to renew it. If you want to be paid by the company, you do not have to be paid by the company. But if you want to be paid by the company, you've got to have one reoccurring customer a month of 100 points. It can be anybody, or it can be you on an auto ship. Doesn't matter how you do it, but that's it on qualifications. You do have to get a starter pack, but I'm going to cover this first. We suggest everybody start with a group of skinny drops because they sell better than ice cream. I cannot explain it. If you had told me that people would be making this kind of money selling skinny drops on social media 2 years ago, I would have said you had lost your mind. If I hadn't been watching it with my own eyes, I would not believe anybody that told me, because I've been in this industry a long time. It's not supposed to be this easy. It's just not. It's supposed to be much harder. But I have yet to have anybody that follows the instructions not succeed. That's all you have to do here. Now, everybody don't follow instructions, I can promise. They give me a million reasons why they can't do what I'm about to tell you. But if they do it, it just works. Matter of fact, we had a 55-year-old man went home and did it last night and sold 2 boxes already this morning. And that's women generally are going to sell a little better on social media than some men. Some men are good at it, but overall, percentage-wise, women seem to be a little better at it. But here's how it works. Here are the instructions. When you join the company, you'll get the company app. It'll come with your $29.95. But we're also going to download a third-party app that anybody can get. It's in Android and Apple stores called Boards, B-O-A-R-D-S. When we download that on your phone, immediately who signed you up is going to upload our system into it. And the way the skinny drops work is really simple. You're going to buy our skinny drops in bulk, either a 4, 10, or 30 pack, and you're going to sell them at a profit that can be quite substantial, you're about to see. And you can tell people about it in person. You can put them in a storefront. All those things are fine, but nothing sells like what I'm about to tell you. So when you download this app and we upload it, You're going to get your first 30 days worth of post, meaning you don't have to know anything. You don't have to have your own story. That's the number one thing you'll hear. Well, I got to try the drops first. Well, if you went to the nutrition store in town, I can guarantee that person that owns that store is selling about 400 products and probably only taking 3 to 5 themselves. They're selling 385 things to other people that they're not personally putting in their bodies. So they're always remind people there is a business side and a health side. And I mean, there's 100 products. Probably not everybody in this room is taking all 100 of our products, but you have the ability to sell any of them to anybody to meet their need. Okay, so we're going to give you the before and after picture. So for the gentleman last night, Mike, who's on the Zoom with us, we downloaded it on his phone, showed him how it works. So all you have to do is actually, and what he did, he just goes to day one and copies the before and after picture, and then the post is already written. Just copy it and move it over. Some people ask, can they personalize it? You absolutely can, but I wouldn't change much because we know that wording works. They're very carefully put together by all of our successful girls. So you do that, and the best time to do it is at 9 a.m. one time, and then again at 3 p.m. Now, if you're a social media person, you can do lives and reels and all kind of other stuff along the way, but that's just the standard 9 and 3. When people start asking you questions, the first thing you're going to be asked is, have you been hacked? Your reply is just simply going to be, no, I'm on a health journey, and I'd love for you to join me if you would like to. That's all you're going to reply back. And you get through the first 2 or 3 days, and people realize it's you still. Then they're going to start asking you questions, not generally the first post. It's going to take for some people them seeing it a few times, and then they're going to start saying, what is it? How does it work? What's in it? What are the ingredients? And all the million things they can ask you. Well, the first thing you're going to do in boards, you're going to have every question that you could possibly ask already answered in here. So the first thing when somebody asks you, tell you more, what's in it, all those kinds of things, you're going to send Dr. Crystal's 4-minute video, the doctor that lost 167 pounds, and she's going to explain it for you. And this board literally attaches to your text and your messenger. You don't even have to copy and paste. You literally touch it with your finger and it sends. You can answer 10 questions in 1 minute at work. And then when they start asking you questions, get in here and play around. If you're new, you'll see a thing that says text scripts. There's about 30 questions that we know you're going to be asked, and the answer is already there. So when they ask you, for example, how much is it? There's a text script that says it is, they retail at 176, but we buy in bulk and we sell at, I know it's a little different in this room. We just say never below 150, either 150 to 167, whatever you're selling at. There's Dr. Crystal. She's the one be doing the 4-minute video. So here's a couple of examples. So Courtney. So I have proof in this room that this is a real story because a lot of people don't know Courtney. I didn't know Courtney. I met her when she'd been in the business 3 weeks. And at the 3-week mark, Courtney had already sold 160 boxes. She's a mom of 4, but she's pregnant with her 5th. The only person on planet Earth that I am aware of that should not take the drops is a pregnant or nursing mama. Why? Because we limit cortisol secretion and the babies need the cortisol. They want to gain weight. That's the 9 months. Mama gets to cheat all she wants to. So Courtney, Kim Gray, who's the sponsor of some of the ones in the room, she says, Todd, you gotta meet Courtney. So I went over there and I shook her hand, and Kim says, she's already sold 160 boxes in 3 weeks. So that's a little above average, although I've seen more. I looked at her and I said, how? And she said, I don't know. I just copy and paste from boards. That was her answer. And she sold 160 boxes and she sells at 167. So her average profit's about $70 a box. In that same meeting, this girl comes walking in, who is Pam Dodd's niece, since you know Pam. She was 19 years old that day. She just turned 19, and she'd made $1,000 her part to keep that day, which was her 3rd day in the business, posting on social media. I don't have the picture on this slideshow. By the way, Talia's a nurse, and she's the one that her estrogen and progesterone was right around 25, that balanced out within 4 months of being on the drops. Okay, so here's how you can start. If you want to tiptoe in, start with a 4-pack. It will initially qualify your business for just the basic pay. And you'll sell 3 at a minimum of 150. So if you sold at 150, your $450 returned to you, which means your box is completely free and you've got all of your money back to include the $29.95. If you're selling at 167, you've turned a little bit of a profit. You can start with a 10-pack. If you move a 10-pack, you'll be plus $600 in profit. You're collecting in your Venmo account. So like this is real-time cash. And then I was just with a group in Oklahoma City and I watched it with my eyes. I watched about 30 people come in with a 30-pack first day. And all of them have just about, this was last weekend I was there. Almost every one of them have now sold through all 30. And I'm going to end with this story here. I'm going to actually switch slides and show you this one lady here. Should say Oklahoma. Okay, there she is. All right, so Debbie was at that meeting. Debbie's in her middle 60s, not the best social media person. Matter of fact, I made her do her first live ever in her lifetime while I was there. And when I was driving to that meeting, just like today, I had not been to this group before, so I was texting everybody asking for pictures. I literally got in my car at the airport, was driving over to the house, and 5 minutes before I got there, they sent me this last picture of her. So when I went through the presentation, I just asked Debbie for her transformation, and she shared it, nothing else. And then after the meeting, I went over there to talk to her, and she was like, yeah, Todd, I started with that 30. She actually had driven down from Kansas City, Missouri. She said, I started with that 30 pack. My husband is a supervisor for a construction company, and every time they finish a job, they lay him off. And he had just been laid off. She was signed up by a girl on the East Coast. She said, she told me to start with a 30 pack. And I said, there's just no way I can do that right now. My husband's unemployed. But she said, before I signed up, something just told me, just do it. So she did it. She downloaded boards she said it took about 3 hours to get her set up. She was really slow to figure it out. And she started posting, and she signed up on a Sunday night. And by that Friday, she had already sold all 30 before her drops arrived. She said people were asking her how she liked them on Messenger. And she's like, I don't know how I like them. I ain't got them in yet. So anyway, this lady who will be at the convention, if y'all haven't met her yet, but she's made $19,000, and she was in her 7th week when I met her in Oklahoma last weekend. So she's 8 weeks in right now. Again, above average. I'm not going to give you a false expectation, but she's a great example. So that's it. These presentations, by the way, because we can Zoom anytime. I know Crystal and different ones for y'all, but if you put me on a Zoom for help up here, we're going to do the same thing in 10 minutes on a Zoom. But this, because so many people drove in, we educated all the way through. It can be much, much, much shorter. But that's it. Just get back with the person, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys to close this up.
Yeah, I'll just finish on a couple of comments. I mean, being in the healthcare industry like I am, you start looking at all these drugs that we all get prescribed, right? From cholesterol to high blood pressure, right? Anybody ever look at the side effects of those drugs, right? Mental health, right? Like all of these things. And it's always constantly, to me, you're just taking drug after drug. And so to me, why not try a holistic approach and change your eating habits? And these drops have really, to me, they've really changed our lives. And so our goal is to help other people. And I think this company really helps you do that. So.
Yeah, I agree. No, thank you all for coming, and Todd for flying in. If you have any questions, stay for a little bit. I do have sample packs of Renew and Moa, $25 each if you want to try them before you buy the bigger packs. So everybody's free to go, but thanks again. Have a great day.
I will tell you that your state is a gold mine. Like, don't sleep on this.
No.
5, 6, 7 years down the road, you look backwards and say, I was in that meeting when we fit in this little bitty room. I mean, there'll be meetings up here with 3,000 and 4,000 in one day.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching.
How long, when did they first started selling these?
So Partner Co. Let me get this stock real quick.